Hey there guys and gals, as some of you may know, I just got back from New York Comic Con and I want to show you guys what I came home with and some highlights. I want to tell you guys about some highlights of the con. And so, yeah, let's see what I got. The table area where I'm going to be showing off my wares. And one thing that was really cool this year is, like, they don't always have video games there, but sometimes they do, and when they do, oh yeah, it's so cool. Well, they usually have one mobile game out on the floor every year, and then there's sometimes panels for specific games. And this year, specific panel was Warframe, which is great because, as most of you know, me and Jack Bauer and Grim Jack, we all play Warframe. Me and Jack Bauer actually didn't make it to the Warframe panel, which is really sad because they were handing out free plat. Sorry, I can't give you guys this because I already used it, because I am le poor and I wanted some platinum. But Grim brought us back platinum and headbands, and Grim actually asked them a question, and by a question, I mean he went to the panel and he was like, "Yo, fix this goddamn mod!" And they were like, "Okay." And they gave him a bobblehead of Excalibur, the Warframe, like that you usually put in your ship. They gave him a bobblehead, and they were like, "Oh, here you go," and the whole dev team signed it. So he got an awesome ass bobblehead that he's probably never gonna open ever. It's just gonna sit in his house forever. 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 Also this year, they had this thing where there was a booth that was just handing out samples of energy drinks. They're called G Fuel. I guess they're brand new, but they gave us a thingy so we could make like Mio. You take a water bottle, you pour this in, you shake it up. But I don't actually know what flavor this was. Oh, this is Fruit Punch. Fruit Punch was okay. The only flavor I didn't like there was the nasty ass pink lemonade flavor. But I think that might have been just because it was like 900% powder, and it like scratched your throat on the way down. Just ugh. Picked up this graphic novel called Cassie and Tonk, which it's by Chasing Artwork. Last year I got a print from them. The guy that's behind Chasing does these really cool reimaginings of like characters you know and love, but as like mecha. So I got a turtle print from him last year, and of the 4 turtles, but like as mecha. And it was really fucking cool. And he slipped into the back an advert for this graphic novel that hadn't come out yet. And I went this year, he was back and he had the graphic novel, and I was like, I need this. And the graphic novel is, it's kind of like a, it's kind of like, it's for all ages. It's kind of like an Iron Giant type story, but with a girl instead of a boy as the main character. And it seems like it's going to be really awesome. I love this guy's style, this guy's artwork. And the cool thing is, if you bought it at the con, he really wrapped this up really, really well. Like, I don't honestly know how to get it out of the bag yet, because I haven't taken it out yet. But I'm going to check it. The cool thing is, if you bought this book at the con, he was like, "Oh yeah, I gave there's a one-of-a-kind print in each book," and I was like, "Oh, that's neat." And I thought when he said that what it meant was he was going to hand you like a print that he had made, like the ones that he was selling. But I was wrong. What it actually meant. No, get up, sticker paper. You adhesive bitch! Don't you mess up my graphic novel. What he actually meant was, okay, gotta find it. What he actually meant was that there's one blank page at the beginning, like what would normally be like a dedication page, and each book has a custom drawing in it. And he was like, "Do you want to look through to see which custom drawing you like the best?" And I was like, "No, I love this one! This is awesome!" So yeah. This book is it's pretty cool. Like, this is a pretty good sample of his artwork. It's kind of like dark looking, but it's not necessarily evil. This is really weird because the camera's technically backwards right now, so I'm like moving one way and nothing's happening, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do anything. I don't know my side." But yeah, So that's Cassian Ton, and I'm super excited. And I'm happy that he was back this year. There's a lot of people that I saw this year that I was really happy to see again. Especially in like the not the artist alley, because I've never gone into the artist alley because I don't want to. It's like a whole different area of the show, and I'm just like, too late. They handed out a lot of free books this year. Like last year there was a couple, but this year there was a ton of free books. So I got Some Girls Bite, Dragons vs. Drones, the Copper Gauntlet, which is from the Magisterium series, but it's by Holly Black, and some of you guys may know her from the Spiderwick Chronicles. I'm thinking it's the same person, which would make sense. But the weird thing is, alright, so we were at they had a Shadowhunters booth for ABC Family this year, and we were at the booth, and the dude and I don't know, his girlfriend or something walked by us, and they threw this book on the floor. Like, they got it, and they were like, oh, fuck this. And I was like, dude, you dropped your book. And he looked at me, and he was like, don't pick it up. And I was like, all right. But I picked it up anyway. But whatever. And the Courier also picked up. And most of these, since they're Comic-Con books, they are uncorrected proofs. So they're actually being released way before the book is actually supposed to be released. So you get a really cool sneak peek at them. Oh, and I got one more book. Right? Yeah. Once Upon a Dream, which is apparently a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, which is kind of cool. Also another uncorrected proof. So I got a ton of books that I'll actually care about reading. Sometimes I get a bunch of books and I don't care. And also, I guess Progressive was one of the sponsors this year for Comic-Con. And the weird thing is, there were people dressed up in, kind of like that. There were people dressed up in unicorn Progressive suits, and they were all over the show floor, and none of them spoke at all. None of them made a noise. They just stayed in their costumes and creeped you the fuck out. And then they had a dance party on Friday night, and it was really, really, really weird. Whatever. The Marvel booth this year was handing out tons of free stuff. And one of the things they handed out were these awesome double-sided posters for Agent Carter. And on the other side, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Wait, let me see how to fix this. So I'm super stoked about these. They look awesome. Not posters. I probably won't put these up, but I'd be excited anyway. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is pretty cool. Pretty cool show. It's a pretty cool show. So is Agent Carter. Agent Carter's a really good show. If you haven't seen that, I suggest, and you like the Marvel Universe, Agent Carter, I would say, personally, Agent Carter is a better show than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Not to be mean or anything, I'm just saying. And they started releasing a new magazine called Den of Geek, which I think they're going to release at all the Read Pop conventions from now on. That's kind of cool. I'm excited. I actually didn't get to see any of the panels for Ash vs. Evil Dead, because in addition to the main stage now, which is a pain in the ass to get to, they now rent out the Hammerstein Ballroom for Comic-Con, which is like 2 blocks away. And ain't nobody gonna leave the Javits Center to go over there. It's too far. Too far. And they also have this, which I haven't seen before. You can just take for free when you saw it. It's like a Asian culture but mostly Japanese, I would assume, magazine about New York City. So like if you want to go to a ramen bar or whatever, sake, that'll tell you where to go. And then there was a buttload of free book samplers. So many book samplers. Nope. So many book samplers. There's so many. I can't even tell you how many. There were so many book samplers. We got a Del Rey book sampler, which I haven't gone through yet. A Star Wars book sampler. There was a lot of Star Wars stuff this year, which makes There's going to be new novels coming out from Marvel. There's a Black Widow novel coming out. There's a Miss Marvel. I think this is the second Black Widow novel that's coming out. But there's also going to be a Miss Marvel one, they were saying. Fallen and Seeker. Well, Seeker, I don't know anything about, but I got a couple posters for it, I think. Unforgiven and Fallen, not really things that I care about. King of Cherokee. Apparently Rick Riordan, he's the guy who does Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Apparently he's going to do a series that's basically the same exact thing, but with the Norse gods. Oh, I have two 12 Kings in Cherokee thing. Oh, and a new sampler for Drive. Now we're getting to more cool stuff. So, at the IDW booth this year, they had reading guides, which is amazing because I know so many people that need help with that. The reading guides tell you what you should be reading, you know, if you want to catch up on a story or what have you. So they had one for Transformers, and then they had one for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you wanted to catch up with reading for that. And I'm probably going to be using these. I want to know what happens to the turtles. I want to know. I want to know everything. Ow, 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 my fingers. And they had a whole booth for the Academy of Art Institute. So I took one of their books. They were showing like people making video games. They were showing people making art and what have you, and you could go there. And then there's a whole bunch of graphic novel samplers that came out, which were awesome. We got Starfleet Academy, Star Trek. There's going to be a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas adapted graphic novel. Paper Cuts did their graphic novel sampler again. Valiant did their graphic novel sampler again. I'm really sad I didn't make it to the Valiant panel because the Valiant panel always hands out cool free shit. Like they hand out gold variant covers of the #1s of their series that they did last year, and I was like, that's freaking cool. And then apparently there's going to be an Archie vs. Predator soon. And there's apparently going to be a Fight Club 2 at some point. So there's going to be a Fight Club comic book, and it's going to be Fight Club 2 soon. Chuck Palahniuk was there, but I didn't see him. And The Goon is apparently a book by Guillermo del Toro, which is cool. I'm sorry, no, The Goon is not. But it's saying that Guillermo del Toro's The Strain is in here as well, which is entirely possible, I suppose. And then I got a whole bunch of business cards and shit from people. I knew I had more of these. There's gonna be a new Gundam series, Iron-Blooded Orphans, and it looks really, really cool. I saw this thing for Zodiac Star Force, which looks really, it's like a magical girl story, but they're not like your typical magical girls because they're not really all that feminine, to tell you the truth, which is awesome. There's an ABC Family booth, but I didn't really care about it, to tell you the truth. Not my thing. There's going to be comics about Disneyland in the near future. I don't really, then we met this guy. Well, actually, it's a collective of guys from the Angelarium. I don't know if you can see from these. But basically, they're all angels. But they're not like, it's not like David, stuff like that. The art really, really, really resembles Warframe. So if you're into Warframe, you're gonna love the Angelarium's prints. They had a whole bunch this year of life-size prop replicas from Triforce. Like they had Moxie's Good and Bad Touch. They had this awesome Kraken and Goliath from Evolve. I mean, the Kraken was like $2,000, but it was beautiful. I could understand why people would buy that. a bunch more inserts and stuff that I don't really know if I'm gonna get into, but it's cool to have on hand, I suppose, if you want to learn about some things. Actually, they had a big showing thing for One Punch Man at the Viz booth, I want to say. Is this Viz? Yeah, at the Viz booth. And me and Jack Bauer watched the first episode of One Punch Man. If you like Gintama, you're gonna love One Punch Man. He's basically Gintoki from Gintama, but, you know, with powers that will never ever be defeated. You know, more people handing out stuff. A lot of people handing out coupons this year, which was nice. If you want to read about geeks trying to find love, there's a new book coming out, Geek's Guide to Unrequited Love. Seems like it'll be pretty interesting. And then they had the weirdest thing ever. There was a booth that said, they call themselves JGospelNet, but I'm 99.999% sure that everyone who was there was Chinese. And they make video games out of Bible stories, and they just confused the shit out of me. There was a contest kind of dealy, but I didn't do it, where if you, that was a scavenger hunt through Comic-Con. If you got this stamped in 3 places and took it back to the Bandai booth, they'd give you a coin with the Konoha symbol on it, but I didn't do it because I was too lazy. Last year, they had a Brave Frontier booth, and that game is actually really awesome. Like, Liz plays Brave Frontier, Teth plays Brave Frontier, so does Forever Kimberly. But the same company was here this year, and they were debuting a new strategy RPG that they're making called Phantom of the Kill. And if you like Final Fantasy Tactics, and you like the battle system of Fire Emblem, like with the rock, paper, scissors system of what weapons you're using, you're gonna love this game. So check out Phantom of the Kill when it comes out. They gave us stickers. They handed out bags, but they didn't have any more when I went back. And then there's stickers, and once again, our tickets this year were all Walking Dead themed. So this year the 3-day passes were Daryl, so I was happy. Happy! A Gathering of Shadows, the book coming out, and they had these cool cards with like the characters that you could use as postcards if you want. So grab 4 of those. But like the characters are really, really cool. So I might look into this. You know, some Star Wars band stuff. The books this year were, they had Dark Knight 3 on them, which is going to be coming out soon from Frank Miller. But I don't think they had a pull-out poster this year. But yeah, it's our guide this year. I also bought the soundtracks to Jet Set Radio, and I'm trying to like figure out where the center is. The Jet Set Radio, which was the last one at the booth, and I was so freaking stoked. And Borderlands the pre-sequel, which super excites me because last year I fucked up, and I saw this last year, and I was like, oh, I don't need to get it because I'm sure Grim already has it. It turns out he did not, and everyone was like, well, fuck you, we could have had it. And I was like, oh, when I see it, I'll buy it. Don't worry. 2 cosplayers, this beat, and then they met up with the Lala from Space Channel 5, and I was like, oh my god, it's Dreamcast Day, isn't it? There was a publisher booth called Action Lab, and they had a whole bunch of stuff for like female empowerment and like strong female characters and what have you. And one of their new series is Princeless, short stories for warrior women, and they actually handed out the first 2 issues of Princeless for free. I don't know if this is the convention version, because it says number 1 of 2 and number 2 of 2, so I should put them like this. But they're handing them out for free, and I was like, I'll definitely check this out. And then they had this freaking awesome print of Spider-Gwen, where she was like web swinging towards the camera, towards the viewer, but I didn't grab it. I was actually going to get it for Liz, but I didn't. And then I was gonna get one for myself, and I didn't. But instead, as we were walking out, one of the booths had these, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I laminated it myself, and I'm definitely gonna put this up in my room. And then the two posters that I actually bought this year were this one, Oni Toyuki, and it's got Zabuza and Haku, and it's fucking amazing. And it's pretty foldy right now. I had it rolled up for like 2 days, so it's all messed up. And then I got this cool ass Jurassic Park print poster, and I laminated it really terribly, but I just wanted to get rid of all the extra laminate strips that I had. So I don't know if you could tell on camera, but there's like 13 strips going across it. But it's also going up in my room. And then I got stuff for my niece. The Disney booth was handing out Olaf fans. And then there's a new series coming out, new cartoon series from DC called DC Superhero Girls. And it's basically all about, you know, some DC characters, DC superheroines, and supervillains. There's no female word for supervillain, is there? Anyway. So if you booped your ID, you got a booklet about all the characters who are going to be in it, and a cape. And I'm going to give this stuff to my niece and start her off early. Even though I'm mostly a Marvel guy, I wouldn't be too upset if my niece got into DC. I'd like her to be into comics at some point. She's got to be cool. Yeah, so that's what comics are. Yep. This is stuff going to my niece. And they're trying to get people to watch the new Batman TV show, which I'm sure is going to be absolute shit. But whatever. They handed out postcards, and they put stamps on them, which was really nice. If I had known that, I would have grabbed one, because stamps are expensive and I'm poor. And I actually made it. Can you guys read that? I actually made it to the Firefly reunion this year, and it was freaking amazing. It was so good, I took notes. Now, the really cool panels I went to was for Disney Infinity 3.0, where we got Hulkbuster unreleased figures, which is fucking amazing. And they debuted the Marvel Battlegrounds feature, which is going to be like a 4-player brawler in Disney Infinity 3.0, and it looked really, really good. But it only works with the Marvel characters, so I'm like, I'm not going to buy a game just to play with like one subset of Toys to Life characters within that game. That doesn't make sense to me. But it was cool because at the panel, they debuted gameplay. First they showed us a couple videos, and then they're like, we're going to do something special tonight. We're going to separate the room into 4 groups. You're each going to have a player. Whichever player wins gets these Hulkbuster figures. And so on our side, we had, our player was playing Ultron, and he was winning the entire match. He was winning. And all of a sudden, he stopped moving. And the guys who were commentating were like, oh, Ultron's controller died! And our player got so salty. And then our, like, section of the crowd got so salty. And the only other person left that was still playing was Gamora, and she was like, her player was like, no, I'm not gonna let you charge your controller, so I'm just gonna kill you now. And he won, and we were so salty. But then they were like, since all you guys were so hyped, we're gonna hand out them to everyone. And we were like, all right, it's fine. I'm okay with that. That's good. And then I just have tons and tons of shit that I'm going to be selling. So if you guys want to check out my eBay store in the near future, there's going to be so much shit in it. So much shit. But I have so many posters to sell. However, I do have 3 signed ones. I don't know what this was. But there was a booth that I walked past that was handing these out. It says at the bottom, illustration from Drawing Blood by Molly Crabapple, limited edition 2015. And there was a booth that I walked by that was completely empty, but it had like 10 of these. And this one's really messed up because I had it in my backpack for way too long. But they're all signed by Molly Crabapple. Like, she did them and no one came to get them, and I felt really, really bad. So I did I felt really, really bad. This year, the Lego booth didn't hand out anything cool, but instead the Mega Bloks did. They had a turtle van, life size, at least the front of it, made of Mega Bloks. And if you took a picture in front of it and you posted on social media about it, they gave you this bag with Leo, one of the girls from Monsters High, Spock, and Master Chief on it. It's really cool, because I didn't get any other free bags this year, which made me sad. And then I got 2 signed things. So I found out about Zodiac Star Force because I went past one of the booths and the lady was like, hey, you want to get signed by the author? And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to get signed by the author. And then we started talking to the author and I was like, oh my god, this book sounds really, really cool. And people were talking to him while he was up there. They were like, oh, you know, where'd you get your inspiration from? And he was like, well, I saw stuff like Steven Universe and like my ears peaked up. I was like, what? I'm sorry, did you say that Steven Universe is an influence? He was like, yeah, I mean, I'm tired of seeing like if girls are like in a good, powerful position, that they got to be so effeminate. And no, they're all kinds of girls. So I wanted to write a story about it, and you know, give them superpowers and what have you. And I was like, all right, that's really cool. You have my attention. Naruto booth was handing out. Well, the Viz Media booth was handing out these awesome Naruto The Last posters. Sorry, trying to find a camera. And I'm excited because they look really cool. At least one of them is going to be up in my eBay store. If you guys want one, you didn't make it to Comic-Con. Also, it'll help me out. Then I won't be poor as dirt. And the other thing I got signed was a book that I actually really want to get into, an itty bitty Hellboy thing. We got it signed by the author of the book and the artist, which is really, really cool. But I really want to, I think I would really like itty bitty Hellboy. I think it's adorable. And then I just have a bunch of other shit that I'm going to be putting in my eBay store as soon as humanly possible. So if you guys are looking for Comic-Con swag and you weren't able to make it there, definitely come check out my eBay store. There's always a link to it in the description. And hopefully I see you guys soon. Maybe next year we'll have more people coming to Comic-Con. It'll be awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.